Welcome to Kaywon Action Star. Watch. The FBI was relentlessly hunting him, unaware that he had orchestrated the ideal scheme to reverse the narrative on that exact day. I don't have a large audience, but even a single comment acts as a beacon of encouragement that keeps me going. The film begins at a specialized facility that provides assistance for children with autism. A military officer arrives alongside his wife and their son, Chris. They're seeking guidance. The father, disciplined, stern, and driven by order, likely from his years of service, shares that Chris struggles to adapt due to their constant relocations. It's taken a toll, and the boy clearly finds it hard to settle. The staff explains that the facility offers stability, which could benefit Chris's condition. But the father dismisses it. He believes shielding Chris from reality would backfire in the future. His belief is clear. The world is unforgiving, and Chris must learn to deal with it as it stands. No exemptions, no pampering. Elsewhere, young Chris sits quietly on the ground, absorbed in a puzzle, softly swaying and murmuring, "Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday." He's entirely focused, but when he sees a piece is missing, he becomes distressed. A girl nearby spots this and hands him the missing piece. Instantly, Chris relaxes. It's a subtle yet telling moment that reveals how vital order and wholeness are to him. He craves a sense of completion to feel calm. Years pass. Chris is now grown, working as a financial consultant. He's advising a couple in financial distress. He's composed, introverted, but exceptionally intelligent as he outlines methods to minimize their tax burden. The couple is so impressed, the husband invites Chris to their property for target shooting. Over in Washington, D.C., an analyst named Marybeth Medina is summoned by Ray King, a senior official in the Treasury Department. He praises her achievements but hits her with a tough question: why hasn't she climbed higher in her profession? Before she can respond, he reveals a secret. He knows about her confidential juvenile file. She's been hiding a troubled past, and now he's using it as leverage. Help with an ongoing case or lose everything. The suspect, an elusive accountant handling funds for dangerous individuals, not just manipulating finances, but removing obstacles. King gives Medina 1 month to find him or face repercussions. Meanwhile, Chris adheres to his solitary lifestyle, immersed in a strict regimen. He prepares a plain dinner, then undergoes a bizarre bedtime ritual, more punishment than peace. Blasting metal music, flashing strobe lights, and a rod to massage his legs painfully, it's like he's bombarding his senses. During this, he recalls a heart-wrenching Christmas memory when his mother abandoned the family. After taking medication, he finally drifts off. The next day, Chris visits the couple's estate for target shooting. He grabs a rifle and nails each target with astonishing accuracy. The husband is blown away by his skill. Later, Chris visits what appears to be a basic storage unit. Inside, however, is a fortified trailer stocked with fine art, rare collectibles, stacks of cash and various currencies, and an array of weapons. It's clear his world involves far more than accounting. Lying down, he recalls another moment from prison. A former inmate had taught him how to clean dirty money and navigate social cues, something Chris struggles with. He's abruptly awakened by a call from a woman with a British accent, a handler managing his missions. She advises him to take safer assignments to stay inconspicuous. Chris isn't thrilled but complies. Soon, he arrives at a tech firm producing prosthetics. The company's accountant, Dana, noticed suspicious financial activity, so they've hired Chris to investigate. He agrees promptly and vows to begin the next day. Elsewhere, Medina sifts through archives and discovers a photo she thinks could expose the accountant's identity. She sends it to the facial ID team, praying for a hit. Meanwhile, in Switzerland, a man named Brax appears. He's not an auditor but an enforcer, slipping into cars, pointing pistols, and calmly warning people to stop tampering with money. He issues a grim warning if the fraud continues. At the prosthetics company, Chris finds Dana napping in a boardroom. It's awkward. He rouses her, and she introduces herself with an apology. She expects collaboration, but Chris shuts it down. He prefers working solo. During a press briefing, Medina gets a message. Homeland Security uncovered something big. Not only did they identify the face, but they also linked it to an old audio file. It's chilling. A man begging for mercy, then a gunshot, followed by Chris softly reciting that same eerie nursery rhyme. Dana joins Chris for lunch, attempting small talk, but it doesn't land. He soon returns to work, covering whiteboards and windows with equations. It's like he processes the world through math. Eventually, he discovers the problem. Someone has been draining company money into a bogus account. Dana is blown away, but before they can continue, a board member bursts in, demanding progress. Chris responds that he needs more time. Across town, Brax visits another executive, a diabetic man. He gives him two options: inject himself to fake a suicide for insurance, or fight back and risk both lives. The man opts for the former. The next morning, Chris finds custodians cleaning his notes off the glass. He panics. The owner enters with shocking news. The suspect confessed to embezzlement and took his life. Case closed, but Chris isn't satisfied. Something feels incomplete. That night, he repeats his brutal sensory routine. The lights, the noise, the pain, it's like he's clinging to mental control. The next day, he notices a car tailing him. He remains calm and heads back to the couple's estate. Flashbacks return, his father forcing intense physical training on him and his brother to toughen them up. Inside the house, things escalate. Two men have broken in and are threatening the couple. They instruct the wife to lure Chris inside, but he's already watching. He snipes one of them instantly. The rest panic, shove Chris and Dana into a vehicle, and attempt to escape. But Chris retaliates. He shoots at the truck, halts it, and drags one attacker out, choking him with a belt for intel. The man claims ignorance. He was just ordered to eliminate them. Chris finishes him without mercy. Chris dashes to Dana's residence. Instinctively sensing danger, he spots men trailing her and sneaking into the elevator. He takes the stairs. Inside, two imposters posing as couriers ambush Dana, but she fights them off and locks herself in the bathroom. Chris arrives just in time, neutralizes the threat, and tells her to pack. No time for answers. The person behind the ambush is informed that their men were taken out by the accountant, Chris's alias. Chris takes Dana to his secret trailer, asking her to wait outside. But curiosity gets the better of her, and she follows him inside, stunned by the stash, guns, money, confidential documents. It's like something out of an espionage thriller. She bombards him with questions. He stays vague, still an enigma. Meanwhile, Medina gets another lead. The voice from the recording may belong to someone with trauma or a neurological condition. He repeats rhymes when distressed, another piece of the puzzle. Determined, Medina links multiple identities and payment trails, zeroing in on Chris. Later, Chris and Dana lay low in a motel. Dana, still inquisitive, asks how he mastered combat. Chris opens up. His ex-military dad trained him for self-defense and shares that he's on the autism spectrum, which complicates emotional connection. When Dana leans in for a kiss, Chris hesitates. But suddenly, he realizes the embezzlement at the robotics company was just the surface. The money was being funneled into higher-yield ventures. Chris begins trailing Brax and the executives. Brax notices and fires, but Chris doesn't flinch. He chases him into a shareholder's suite, only to discover the man already dead. Medina finally pieces it all together. She identifies the accountant as Chris Wolf. He once worked at a modest firm and used cash-heavy businesses to obscure his profits, but he wasn't hoarding. Most of the earnings went to neurological research. Excited, Medina calls King with the breakthrough. That evening, Chris returns to the hotel and sees Dana asleep. The sight triggers a memory, his father forcing him and his brother to fight bullies. Chris quietly gathers his belongings and leaves to shield her from harm. Simultaneously, King and Medina led a raid on Chris's residence, uncovering an arsenal and complex security systems. Meanwhile, Brax, now head of security for the company boss, braces for a confrontation at the mansion. King and Medina share a personal exchange. She confesses she once tried to shoot a drug dealer who supplied her sister, no remorse. King shares his tale. Years ago, Chris pointed a weapon at him and asked, "Are you a good father?" King answered yes. Chris let him live. That encounter changed him. Later, a British woman phoned with information. She's been his source ever since. Chris's old cellmate had been tortured and killed after his release, spurring Chris to operate independently. Years later, Chris and his father attended his mother's funeral. A scuffle broke out, a guard fired, and Chris's dad took the bullet. He died shielding his son. Medina, trying to make sense of it all, asks why King is sharing this. He replies that he wants her to handle the mystery calls after he steps down. Soon after, Chris's landline rings. Medina picks up. The British woman is on the other end, offering a fresh clue. Back at the estate, Brax is tense. Chris finally makes his move. He dispatches guards efficiently, sparing one for intel. Watching the footage, Brax grows uneasy. Chris is humming that same childhood rhyme. Realization dawns, it's not just an intruder. It's his brother. Shocked, Brax tells his men to stand down. The brothers confront each other. Brax vents, blaming Chris for leaving him behind and their father's death. Chris listens and allows him to lash out. Once Brax settles, Chris points a gun, only to talk. They begin to reconnect, but their boss storms in, furious. Without pause, Chris shoots him dead. Before parting, Chris tells Brax they'll properly reconnect soon. Elsewhere, at a brain research institute, a family visits with their autistic child. While exploring, the boy meets a girl, Justine, the same girl who helped Chris with the puzzle long ago. She's nonverbal but uses a speech device. When she demonstrates it, her voice is heard. It's the same British woman who's been guiding Chris all along. In the final scene, Dana returns to her apartment, tidying up after the ordeal. She receives a package. Inside is a painting. At first, it looks simple, but when she peels back the surface, it reveals a masterpiece. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to this channel for more beautiful recaps like this. Put down your comments below to let me know what you think about the turn of events in this storyline. And also give my video a thumbs up to further motivate me. Share too for others to enjoy. Until my next recap, cheers!